Good evening, everyone. What a tournament it's turning out to be. We will get the top four teams for playoffs only after the completion of the last league match. Today is the second last league match of the IPL. The Delhi Capitals are going to meet the RCB in Abu Dhabi. The winner of this match will play in Qualifier 1 alongside Mumbai Indians. Welcome to Sportskeeda's Power Play. I'm Afreen Khan and with me is Prasen Maudgal. Hello, Prasen.
Hi, Afreen. Good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fine. Thank you so much. It's gonna go down till the very last league match. That's why people say IPL is the best T20 league in the world. Agree?
Absolutely. Who would have thought that when the first ball was bowled earlier, last month, that it would come down all the way until the final league stage match, and we still haven't got the top four. We've got only one team, and today's match will decide who makes the top two. So, a very very crucial match for both RCB and DC, and of course DC 4 losses in a row, RCB 3 losses in a row. Both teams will be dented, but they'll be equally hungry to take that second spot on the points table.
A win today will mean ticket to qualifier one, whereas the losing team will pray for Mumbai Indians victory tomorrow over Sunrisers Hyderabad. Because if Sunrisers win tomorrow, it's gonna go all the way to the net run rate.
Absolutely. I think KKR picked up a very big win in the context of things. A 60-run win yesterday against Rajasthan Royals, which was a very important win for them in terms of net run rate. And I think we have our permutations, combinations, 17 runs, 22 runs. The margins are all out there, but both teams will be, first of all, targeting that win, which will be enough to take them to second position. And of course, if they're losing, they'll want to lose by as small a margin possible to stay within that within the comforts of the top four. So very very important match. Again, as we discussed, both sides will be dented in terms of confidence, and the best team will have to. I mean, both the teams will have to put up their best foot forward today.
All right, the news from the toss is that Delhi have opted to field first. Good decision, Prasen. Pressure game. Good to have a score, in the mind to chase.
Yeah, I think they'll want to take into consideration, the way the teams have been chasing in recent times. But the Delhi Capitals, I'm actually surprised. Not really surprised. I'm worried for them because their batting hasn't come good. We've seen that Rishabh Pant has failed to. He's basically in the middle of an identity crisis. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's very slow. I think Rahane has come in today into the side. Akshar Patel is back, and Daniel Sams is also back. So they've made 3 changes. They're trying to strengthen all the units. But again, coming back, the Delhi Capitals batting hasn't looked very convincing. Shikhar Dhawan has tapered off after initially showing promise. Rishabh Pant hasn't scored quickly. Shreyas Iyer has thrown away his starts. So they're looking a very inconsistent unit in terms of batting. But look, I mean, this is a very high pressure match. They know the margins that they need to win by. And even if they're losing, they know that they need to, make sure that they get within a certain margin to actually make the top four. So I think that's what they're actually worried about. But Abu Dhabi also has a fair share of pace on it. And that's why I think Daniel Sams has been brought into the side today. And he'll definitely add that extra pace, into the bowling unit. So, yeah, looking forward to this encounter.
Prasen, Delhi has made 3 changes and RCB has made 2 changes. Gurkirat Man misses out and in comes Dubey for RCB. Saini misses out because he's not fit and in comes Shahbaz Ahmed. Too much to do in these crucial matches. This is probably the last match. So too much they, doing changes and is it correct or is it like, okay, they're trying their little best, desperate moves?
Yeah, I think considering the case of RCB, if Saini is not fit, then they had to get in someone in his place. And Umesh Yadav hasn't really been, his usual self in the IPL, and that's why he's not getting a go. Shahbaz Ahmed comes in his place. He played only one match and then he was dropped. And, with Abu Dhabi also producing a little bit of spin, probably they'll want to make the most use of conditions and, put up a good show. But yeah, Shivam Dubey in place of Gurkirat Singh Mann was a predicted move, so to say, because Gurkirat looked very, very off color in the last game. that RCB played. So he wasn't looking at his best, and he failed to time the ball. So I think Shivam Dube comes into the side for that firepower that he promises. He's shown glimpses of that, and obviously also he can contribute to the few overs. And in Saini's absence, they'll probably want him to bowl a bit. So I think if for that balance, Dube has come in, and he'll probably be handy today.
I'm surprised to see Rahane coming in again in the playing 11. Looks like Prithvi is again asked to sit out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised to see Rahane coming in because he isn't exactly that explosive type of player that you'd want in your side. Of course, no doubt that he's a quality player. He's a class player. He's someone who really brings technique into the picture. But he hasn't really set IPL on fire. Last season he was Rajasthan Royals' highest run scorer, but this year he's been in and out of the side. And I think with Prithvi Shaw also not being too consistent, they probably want a few runs at least because Prithvi Shaw is not even giving them that much. So that's why they probably brought in Rahane, and of course Akshar Patel coming into the side. I was very surprised to see him sit out in the last game. I don't know whether it was for uh, you know. Uh, I mean, I don't know if he was injured or something, but yeah, it was obviously a very calculated move, and that's why probably they made these changes. But I see Prithvi Shaw in the squad. That's very
Yes,
surprising.
he is. Um, we are still figuring out who's left out. I see both Prithvi and Ajinkya Rahane in the playing 11.
Yeah,
So four foreigners are Kagiso Rabada, Norkia, Stoinis, and Sams for them.
yeah,
And who's missed out?
yeah. I think Tushar Deshpande is not playing.
No, he
Tushar
didn't play the
Deshpande.
last. He didn't play the last match as well.
Oh yeah, right.
Uh,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I think Harshal Patel and Praveen Dubey played last match, so
Yes,
they're
yes,
probably
yes.
missing out. And yeah, obviously Sams is coming in. I mean, obviously that pace factor is something that he brings to the picture. So Harshal Patel and Praveen Dubey, feeling sad for Praveen Dubey. Really, he played one match, but look, it's a crucial match, and both teams need to win compulsorily. A loss here will mean that they're putting themselves under more pressure. And I mean, it's surprising, like you mentioned. It just seemed like it was heading all towards a perfect area, and suddenly losses in a
Hmm.
trot have really put both these sides in trouble. So definitely, it's a very, very hard task for both these sides.
Again, Delhi has left behind Hetmar as well. So Sams comes in place of Shimran Hetmar. Surprising that is, Prasin.
Look, I mean, the investment that they made in Hetmaya hasn't really worked out well. But I mean, to be honest, to Hetmaya, he hasn't had too many chances either. And even in the
True.
chances he's got, he hasn't really fired as per
Hmm.
his potential. So that's probably the reason for his ouster. And Rahane coming into the side. Daniel Sams obviously can tonk a few balls. But I think they're looking for that extra pace also in their pace department with Tushar Deshpande sitting out in the previous game and Harshal Patel also not giving them that express pace. So they probably wanted Sams to come in and partner Rabada and Nokia. Let's not forget Rabada hasn't picked a single wicket in the power play overs this season. So that's a very, very interesting stat. And Sams will probably come in and bring in that extra variation, which will be interesting to watch.
So what do you feel? What is more concerning for the Delhi Capitals? They are batting or they are bowling? Or both?
Oh, definitely they're batting because there's only little that the bowlers can do. We've seen Rabada taken for runs, Nokia taken for runs. Ashwin has taken 2 wickets, I think, in the last 5 games, and he's gone wicketless. But T20 is all about the batsman's game. The bowlers have very little to play for in the T20 format, and obviously they do have class bowlers, so it's not too much to discuss over there because the batting obviously has looked very, very pale. We mentioned how Rishabh Pant is in the middle of an identity crisis. Shaw hasn't got runs. Dhawan's form is off.
Hmm.
Rahane hasn't scored too much. So they definitely need to sort out their batting. And and considering that they're batting second and chasing, the scoreboard pressure will definitely be on them. So I think RCB might be well served in this game.
So coming to RCB revolves a lot around AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. About time they click as a team instead of depending too much on these two. And the reason for their losses in the last few games it's very evident. ABD and Virat Kohli couldn't do much. They failed in last few matches with the bat. So maybe the team has to step up and play as a team and not depend too much on these two.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the season's been about Kohli and De Villiers. I mean, it's not been about Kohli and De Villiers so much. It's been more about the top four, with Padikkal
Hmm.
also scoring well. But look, you need to take into consideration that there's not much quality after AB De Villiers, and that's why a lot of people are still saying the team is about Kohli and De Villiers because there's no quality after the two of them.
Hmm.
Gurkirat Singh Mann hasn't struck form. Washington Sundar isn't exactly a finisher of sorts. Shivam Dubey has blown hot and cold. Chris Morris hasn't batted too much. So there's a lot of inconsistency in that lower middle order, and I think they've tried to sort of solve that by getting Shivam Dubey in today, and he'll have a huge role to play. There's no doubt about it.
True.
Because look, he's fired. He has a big price tag above his head, and he'll need to perform today because it's a huge occasion. RCB need a win, and there's no better match to perform than when your team needs it the most.
All right, so time for the fantasy team present.
Yeah, well, I think this was definitely a tough one, but let's see where we're gone with this. Rishabh Pant, Josh Philippe, AB de Villiers, Prithvi Shaw, Shreyas Iyer, Devdutt Padikkal, Virat Kohli, Washington Sundar, Andrik Nokia, Kagiso Rabada, and Yuzvendra Chahal.
Still Rishabh
Somehow
Pant
we've
in your team? Still Rishabh Pant in
yeah,
your team?
Yeah, look, I mean, Rishabh Pant is still a match winner on his given day, and he'll be hurting. We spoke about how he was left out of the Indian team, and he was go. I mean, he was supposed to perform well in the last game, but for some reason, he's looked a pale shadow of his potential. And you can
Hmm.
expect him to come. He's done well against RCB in the past, so he could be expected to come good. Felipe and De Villiers and Virat Kohli and Devdutt Padikkal, the top four of RCB. Obviously, in your fantasy side, when you're picking players, you pick those who are guaranteed to play and make an impact. And these four of RCB obviously are key to this batting unit because they will need to score the bulk of the runs. We spoke about how the lower middle order hasn't really looked good, and so all the owners will be on these four to get
Hmm.
going. Sorry, up and early. And for the Delhi Capitals, Prithvi Shaw, he's really, really looking flashy up front. So he'll need to get a whole lot of runs. And if the Delhi Capitals are to get off to a good start, and Shreyas Iyer also, Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant have started off well, but they've thrown away their wickets or they've been slow. So they'll need to address those issues and play out the early threat with the new ball and then score runs. Washington Sundar has been phenomenal in the power play. In the last 3 or 4 games, I think he's been taken for a few runs, but then again, he's someone who can really restrict the batsman from getting away early on, and he'll be key today. Andrik Nokia and Kagiso Rabada are the leading bowlers of the Delhi Capitals. They're leading the pace attack, and they are in the top 10 wicket takers. So one more man who's also there in the top 10 wicket takers is Yuzvendra Chahal, and so the bowling
Hmm.
attack looks fantastic. And over time, we've made a habit of picking bowlers as our captain because they give more points. But it'll be interesting to see how Rabada goes. He has looked a little off color in the last 2 games, and he'll really need to make an impact early on and remove the top four early to give Delhi a good chance here.
So no Marcus Stoinis in your team present?
It's very hard to pick because again we have only a little credits that you can work with. So because we've gone with Kohli, Padikkal, De Villiers, Rabada, Chahal obviously can't leave him out. So Marcus Stoinis again, I think he bats a little too low down the order, and he hasn't done much
Hmm.
with the ball as well. So not really too much of a worthwhile investment in our opinion. But then again, we've been proven wrong a few times. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
RCB has been very comfortable chasing. So they've been put in an uncomfortable position right now to bat first. What's the total they'll be looking forward for to keep themselves alive in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kohli at the toss also said that he would have bowled first if he had won the toss, and that just means that they wanted to know the conditions, they wanted to know what they were chasing, and so the pressure will be on the top four undoubtedly to put up a big score because the low middle order hasn't really performed. Look, the Delhi Capitals batting hasn't fired in the last few games, but that doesn't mean that there are quality players. All those players have played for India, and they're all
Hmm.
very, very quality players. Obviously, Stoinis hasn't had too much of a hit, so they will need to get going early. RCB will need to get off to a good start, which hasn't happened too often this season. But yeah, they'll need to get anywhere near 170, 180 to challenge this Delhi batting unit, which will be hungry to score runs. So yeah, I think 170 should be the par score.
And your prediction for tonight's game, present?
Momentum's a very funny word in T20 cricket, and the Delhi Capitals have 4 losses in a row. RCB, on the other hand, have three, but they
Three
haven't
losses.
fallen to two big losses. They've played decent cricket. The Delhi Capitals, on the other hand, have really been unable to put up performances off late. So, and also considering the fact that scoreboard pressure will be on them, RCB have quite a few bowling options to sort of shuffle around. So I think if RCB manage to put up a good score, they're definitely in with a chance of winning this game.
Just a stat for you, Prasin. RCB has won 2 games out of 3 in Abu Dhabi, whereas the DC have lost all their 3 games. This will also add to their pressure since they're playing in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll be playing on the back of their mind or if they're told these stats because generally the statsmen keep away from negativity. But yeah, look, I mean, the players know they've played in Abu Dhabi, they know the
Absolutely.
conditions, and that will play in their mind. They'll probably want to, the batsmen specifically, they'll want to come good. But yeah, I mean, past matches are all in the past. This is completely different situation. It's a different set of challenges, that they need to deal with. So yeah, I am not too sure if it'll play too much, but definitely advantages with RCB.
All right, let's wait and watch. Thank you so much, Prasen, for joining us. Viewers, it's the last league game tomorrow, so please do join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the last league games preview show. Thank you, Prasen, for joining us, and have a pleasant evening, everyone. Enjoy the game. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.